so much. Where's everyone? We're missing a couple of guys up in there. So first of all, I just want to say, it was kept a secret from me, had I known that Misni will make you pay was here yesterday, there was no way I would have spoken this week. I can't follow that. I can't. Did he body slam anyone?
Close one eye.
Yeah, his point.
Is he?
One eye? Oh, pick up the other eyebrow.
Right. There it is. He's like the Rock's weird uncle. That's it. We do. We go to the same barber. That's how we know each other. And I have the same guy does my rings, but I didn't. Did he really give out like mugs? This is amazing. He's so much better than me. I'll make them pay. This is awesome. Okay. How did we even get him? What? There has to be a big story back. Okay. All right. I'm going to hear it though. Yes. Of course it involves Rabbi Kushner and a body. You could have skipped that part of the story. All right. Here we go. So, remember Rima. Yeah. That's what we're holding. Huaya Aimer, right? So, Hillel says, Marbe Basar, Marbe Rima. I'm sorry, Sadik. Hi, how are you? What's your name? Mayor? Katz. From? Florida, Ohio? Florida, Florida? Psst. How am I more tan than you? All right. Marbe Basar, Marbe Rima. Marbe Basar, Marbe Rima. The more basal, the more flesh a person has, the more Marbe Rima. Marbe Nachasa Marbe, the more Marbe Rima, the more worms there are. Marbe Nachasa Marbe Daiga. The more things a person has, the more worries they have. Marbe Nasha Marbe Kshafim. The more women. Really? You're a woman?
Or the more boys.
Whoop whoop! I mentioned women. Yay! We got our fair share. He said. Yes. No, Nashim is right. Yeah, no, Nashim are actually wives. Marbe Kshafim. The more, right? What's Kishuf? Witchcraft. Kishuf machers. Marbe Shvachais, Marbe Zima. Marbe Shvachais, Marbe Zima. The more Shvachais, the more maidservants you have. Marbe Zima, the more Znus is going to go on. Marbe Avad, Marbe Gazel, the more servants you have, the more stealing is going to go on. And then we go Marbe Torah, Marbe Chaim. We go to the other side. Marbe Torah, Marbe Chaim. The more Torah there is, the more life you'll have. Marbe Yeshiva, Marbe Chachma. The more you sit in Yeshiva, more Chachma you have. The more, but Yeshiva we're going to get into. Marbe Eitza, Marbe Tvuna, Marbe Tzedakah, Marbe Shalom. Kana Shem Tev, Kana Yatzar, Kana Devartaka, Kana Chayam. Bah! We're going to be sitting on the first part of this. There's two parts to this Mishnah. Right. Yeah. There are two parts to this Mishnah, like all of the Mishnahs that we discussed so far. There is what we're going to say is the positive and the negative. There's the first part that we go into. The Dublin. There's the first part that we go into. And we're saying what to stay away from. Sormei Rava Asei Toiv. What are we staying away from and what are we going towards? We spend so much of our lives trying to avoid pain. Instead of pursuing peace, we try to avoid pain. As long as I can avoid pain, as long as I can stay out of trouble, as long as I'll be happy. Just leave me alone. That's all I want. Just don't pay attention to me. Right? When Rabbi Nussbaum, cheppers you and then he says, it's because I love you. You're like, love me less. Just love me less. Don't bother me. Don't talk to me. Don't notice me. For most of us, for most of us, and I'm only picking on high school as the example I would give no matter who I was talking to right now, but a high school career, the best thing a guy can hope for is just to fly under the radar. Just don't talk to me. I won't talk to you. We'll get through these 4 years together, and then I'm off. There are actual ways to love life. Now, there is a part that we need to stay away from certain things in order to enjoy life, in order to enjoy ourselves, in order to properly appreciate what we have. So we have to focus on that. But if we want to build, if we want to know why am I not feeling, I wear tzitzis, I keep Shabbos, I do this, I do that. Why am I not feeling it? Why am I not feeling connected to Hashem? Why am I not feeling davening? Why am I not feeling learning? You're not feeling it because you're only not doing things or doing things in the negative. I don't want to wake up, but I do. I don't want to put on tefillin, but I do. So I'm doing all the stuff, but there's no positive being infused for me whatsoever. And I'm going to give you a point that you need for life, which is that it's on you. No one else can give you anything. There is literally nothing anyone can give you. Life is about what you create for yourself. Says, because, for instance, because even if someone tries to give you the most basic form of it, someone tries to give you money, you can always deny that or not use it properly or ignore it But creating for yourself is something that changes you. Even if we are dealing with something so small as money, if I make my own money, it changes who I am. Even if I do waste that money, even if I do give that money away, even if I never use that money, me creating for myself changes who I am, as opposed to other people doing things for me never changes who I am. And if I never change who I am, if I never change, doesn't mean change my personality. It means grow my personality. It means grow who I am. If I never grow, I'm a nobody. So the Mishnah starts off with the first things that we should be staying away from. All of these things. And it's an incredibly mind-blowing situation where everything that the Mishnah says stay away from are all things that people rely on outside of themselves. Everything the Mishnah says to go for, we're going to get to this at the end, everything the Mishnah says to go for are things that I need to conquer within myself. No one else, it's no one else's business. No one else has anything to do with this. There's a famous, she's not a therapist, but she created a mode of therapy called, I just realized, I forgot my coffee, called, that's it, this is how good I am in a speech. Well, I don't have a coffee, I just nose dove. Called, if there's nothing in it, then if there's nothing in it, then fine. The psychology? Is that where I'm holding right now? Shuhada, I was waiting for you. I stalled. I had to make fun of Levi. I'm saying that's how bad it got before I was away. Oh, come on. That was, all right. Mode of therapy called, come into camera. Come into camera. That was Elia Cohen. I love him. I love Elia Cohen so much. And Elia Cohen loves me. I have to say, he texts me all the time. Like, I miss you. Oh, I love you.
Do you need a thermos?
At least I think what that hand emoji means. I think that's what that hand emoji means. That's what that gesture is, right? You're number one. All right. Right, yeah, I am saying. He's saying you're number one. It's a true story. Someone one time sent to me, this is true, a guy from a big organization I was speaking for sent me is a rabbi, and he sent me, he was sending me information or whatever, and I asked him, I was like, what's the address? Or what's the something? And he resent it, and then he sent a pointing up finger. Like, it's this, right? You know, on WhatsApp, like and I sent, and I didn't know this guy that well, but I was like, I'm gonna, because it wasn't the pointing up finger, it was the other one. And I sent it back to him. I'm like, all right, geez, like, chill. I just didn't know. You don't have to get upset. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't want to be the one to tell you this. You 45-year-old man. How in the world don't you know that? And he looked closer, and he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I've been using that for donors, for I've just been sending that thing out all the time to everyone for months. He's like, you're the first person to correct me on it. I'm like, you've made a lot of people very happy. I just want you to know that. People must be laughing at your expense so deeply. So she made a mode of therapy called Loving What Is. And it is used many different situations. It's called Loving What Is. Loving What Is has a few principles to it. One of the principles is there are only three types of business in this world. There are only three types of business in this world. My business, God's business, and other people's business. There are three types of business. My business, God's business, and other people's business. All anxiety, stress, and frustration come when I exist in either of the two out of the three that's not my business. When I try living in God's business, what's the weather going to be? What's this is going to? Is the stock market going to crash? That's not my business. That's his business. If I start living in other people's business, they meant this and they said it. Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? Do they like me? Do they not like me? I'm going to live in stress. The only time I exist in any sort of joy or peace is when I exist in my business. When I step out of my business is when all stress, anxiety, and neurosis starts. Okay. Marbeh Basar, Marbeh Rima. So let's get started over here. We're going to find out what our business is. Marbeh Basar, Marbeh Rima. So Maral asks over here, is this true? The heavier a person is, or the more he indulges in life, is it true that there is going to be more maggots eating him after he dies? Is that true? And they go back and forth. The point is, that's not the point, right? Obviously, Maral was asking it rhetorically. Right? What he was saying is like, we're not giving you advice on your corpse over here. Just make sure you're not too big, or you're going to have a lot of worms. Like, who cares? Marbeh Basar, Marbeh Rima. Thought this was. I heard someone. I'll tell you afterwards who. I heard someone because I was speaking about this idea. So someone sent me a clip about this guy. Doesn't matter who it is. And this guy was saying, he's like, I never understood why wealthy people were always talking about their lawyers. Now, I have a friend of mine who's a lawyer, specifically in business and all these different things, and his house is the most awesome place to go to on any sort of Chag, whether it's Sukkot, Pesach, Purim, no matter specifically Purim. This guy gets the best Shalach Manas you can possibly imagine. None of them are coming from prison, so I guess that's a good thing. But he gets like these elaborate boxes of like, he get meat boards that go on for like days. It's unreal. And I said to him, I was like, who is all this stuff? He's like, oh, it's all clients. It's all clients sending me. Wait, I know you're a lawyer. Yeah, I do. I don't know why. It was. He makes them pay. That's how they paid him back. So, right. So, he said, all of them, why? He said, well, because they love me. What do you mean? I'm like, if I ever had to have a lawyer, I don't know if that would be the relationship I would have with the guy. It's like it's a weird relationship that, like, it's a one-time, like you hire a lawyer, he takes care of what you need him to take care of, and you move on with your life. My wife had a warrant out for her arrest. It's always a good way to start off a story. Because she's wild, and she ran a stop sign and ignored the ticket. That's the whole story. I wish it was better. And she had so I had to call up, what's his name, AJ Beulah. Now that I think about it, I should have called Rabbi Kushner. But I had to call up, and no, I'm joking, AJ was amazing. Call up AJ Beulah and he took care of it, right? I'm not going to send AJ a whole, maybe I should, I don't know, but I'm not going to send them a whole. It's a weird relationship to have with someone that you're thinking about them comes Purim time to send them this, not just to send them but to send them a. Also, I know this guy, he charges like $800 an hour, at least. Right? You paid him, you're good. You don't need to send him anything. And I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then this clip really explained it to me. This guy said, he's like, I was always around wealthy people. They were always talking about their lawyers. My lawyer, my lawyer. Like they were best friends. They're always talking about their lawyers. He said, I never understood it until I became a millionaire. I think he was talking about tens and hundreds of millions, but he's like, until I became a millionaire in that way, he's like, I never understood it. He said, now I get it. I totally get it. He said, having a lawyer, he's like, if you're going to become wealthy, the first thing you need to do is find a lawyer, not only that you trust, but that you like. It's very important. And he has to be good at what he does. He said, why? He said, you have a choice in life when you become that wealthy. You're either going to spend a crazy portion of your time in court, or you're going to have a lawyer. Those are your only options. He said, the minute you become that wealthy, everyone wants a piece of you. Everyone starts suing you. Everyone starts coming after you. Everyone starts charging. Everyone starts ripping you off. Everyone. He's like, people start foaming at the mouth for you. They start coming to trying to get you. He said, if you don't have a good lawyer, you're done. He said, my lawyer nowadays saves my life more often than anyone else I know. He saves me constantly. He said, yeah, I send that guy gift baskets all the time. I said, oh, that's what it is. This guy, this lawyer, saves these people all the time. Marba Basar Marba Rima means, if what we're now it's not that it's bad to be wealthy. If it's what I am, though, if what I am is wealthy, then all I'm going to view myself is as bait on the end of a hook for everyone else to come get. Because I have no other facet to who I am other than this wealth that I accumulated, that I put together, some great deal I did, whatever it was. Marba Basar Marmarima, the more you put your weight into what you have around you, the more Rima, what's a Rima? A maggot. What's a maggot? A maggot feeds off of dead flesh. The more these maggots are going to show up and try to rob you of your life. Now, this is important to understand in every aspect. With a certain amount of success comes a certain amount of jealousy and hate. You need to be okay with that. If you want to be big and you want to be great, people are going to try to knock you down. That's going to happen. If all you are, though, is the covet that you hold in that, you're going to get knocked down. They're going to come after you and they're going to eat you alive. That's what the Rima here is. That's what the worms are. And that's what the Mishnah, that's what Hillel is coming to warn you against. Don't put your value in how big you become. Because at the end of the day, all you are is food for other people to beat on. If what you are, and we're going to go through what the other side to everything is, but if what you are is something intrinsic, you can have everything or nothing, you still hold that with you. No one can take that from you. If that's inside of you, if that growth, if that greatness is in you, there's no one that can rob that from you. And I'm telling you, years and years and years of working with guys in yeshivas, you will find the same thing constantly happen. The same exact thing constantly happen. The guy who has an intrinsic real growth versus the guy who, had that one good day at some point and yay. I'll always point back to that day. I forget Shavuos, when I was teaching in Eretz Yisrael. Shavuos was the big time. All these guys would come out of the woodwork, right? Yeshiva is going to end like 2, 3, 4 weeks after Shavuos. So all these guys come out of the woodwork in Shavuos, right? These guys partied all year, did nothing, have nothing to show other than a cool Instagram page. And even that, it's like the same as everyone else's. So they have nothing to show for the year. So they always show up comes Shavuos time. And they're like, Rabbi, tonight I'm finishing a whole Masechta. I'm like, just go to sleep. Just don't do that. Don't do that thing where you do this big thing. Why do people do big things? Every time I'm talking to a parent, I always hear from them a lot of times, usually the father. And you always see the mother like look down and just shake her head. Usually the father comes up with this ingenious idea. He's like, you know what, you're right. I'm not connected to my son. I don't have this big connection. I don't have a relationship with him. We're not deep. I I really want to have a relationship with him. I realize that that's really what's going to make a difference in this kid's life. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to Italy. Me and him, 5 days. And he makes up this whole huge plan. And I'm going to spoil him. I'm going to give him whatever he wants. And we're going to go here. We're going to go there. And the mother's always like, you completely missed the point. That does nothing. That's trying to make up for the guilt that I don't have something. So I'm going to do this big thing so that I can point at it and say, what do you mean? We went to Italy. I don't care about Italy. What did you do every single night together? Not big. This is something I had to learn about parenting. Baruch Hashem, I have the wife I had, and she was able to teach it to me at a very young age. But the idea of like sitting with a kid for 10 minutes a night, 5 minutes while they're walking into bed, while they're going to sleep, and the major difference that can make to them. It's actually, Rabbi Nussbaum one time inspired me in this. Right? We were on, I think it was Hocking Hills. And Rabbi Nussbaum called up his kids, and he was saying Shema with all of them. We didn't see him until the next morning because Bli Nara. There's a 50 passenger van full, but he was saying Shema with all of them. And I was like, wow, that's a connection. That's real. That's a real connection. That it's that important. That's real. That means something. That's so much more than Italy. Again, Italy's going to make your Instagram page look much better. You post you saying Shema with your kids, no one cares less. No one cares. But that's the stuff that matters. If what I'm doing so that I can tick the box and say, look how much, look how big. Right? Why do we want money? No one wants money. It's a lie. No one wants money. I could give you a bank account that has $0 in it. And then a black card? Is that what it's called? What is that credit card that like has no limit on it? And you can, right? So I think it's called a black card. It's like made out of titanium or something. And give you a black card and tell you, you can buy and do whatever you want with this. Buy houses, buy cars, buy everything you want. You would care less not having the bank account necessarily. You'd be like, oh, no, I don't want the money. I don't want the paper. I don't want the number in my bank account. I want the stuff. Why do I want the stuff? Adults struggle with this a little bit more because we're like, no, actually, hang on a second. There is. But why do I want the stuff? I want the stuff because I want to show people that I have the money. And this goes into this crazy circuit. I'm successful, I'm this, I'm that. But if that's where your representation of who you are is at, Rima, they're going to come after you. And when they come after you, you're going to have no legs to stand on. They're going to eat you alive. Because there's nothing real to it. You're relying on basar. You're relying on just flesh, on things that decay to be your thing. I forgot when the first iPhone came out. I was blown away. My chavrusa got it. I was in Kollel. My chavrusa got it. That table didn't learn for about a week straight. It was impossible to focus. I knew that there was an iPhone on the table. I'm not even a tech guy. But you have to understand what this thing was able to do and why it was so wild. First of all, the whole touchscreen thing was used to be touchscreens were like this. That's what a touchscreen was. To have this feather thing that you just, and then it followed your finger. I know this is stupid, but this was an amazing thing. You know what I did when he handed me the phone finally? I put my finger on the screen and just went like this to watch the thing follow my finger, to watch that I could do it halfway and then halfway. That's what I was doing. I'm like, it's wild. It knows exactly where I'm touching. It's amazing. That was what was so amazing about it. This wasn't so long ago. When the first iPhone came out, I was like, that's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else you can do. There's nothing else. It's this thing that's this big, and it holds, and it holds all of your everything you will ever need in it. You don't need to have an MP3 player and a camera and a this and a this and a this and a that. You could literally go anywhere in the world with your wallet and your iPhone and your passport. Now you already nixed the wallet and the passport. You don't need that anymore. All you need is your phone. It's an incredible thing. What else would I need? Well, I don't know. Give me a year and I'll tell you. Because there's going to be something next year that you cannot live without. Something for sure. Is that headphones and the Bluetooth headphones? Not the Bluetooth, implants. I don't know. Something. There's going to be something I need that allows me to that's basar. That's us chasing basar. It's chasing things that will never matter. What happens when we do? No matter what success we have in life, no matter how great we become, no matter how big we become, there's always going to be people that try to knock us down. There's always going to be people that try to take us on. What differentiates the people who make it through that to the people who fall and cower and cry in a corner are the people who either have something real inside of them, who what they're doing truly matters, versus the people who are just showing off the entire time. Who are just trying to say, I look at all this stuff I have. You want to know why I'm a good person? Because I'm good looking. Just going to leave that out there I'm just going to leave that out there for just a minute. And then, right, you want to know why I'm successful? Because I'm this and that and the other. You want to know my dedication? I go to the gym every day. This is all basar. It's not that it's unimportant. We need things and stuff, and that's fine. But does that represent who we are? Or does who we are represent why we need that stuff? It's Wednesday, but still, Shabbat Shalom, guys. I love you.